Hey, gang, coming up on episode 165 of our Finding Better podcast, Josh Fineman is joining me, and we're gonna have so much fun. He's gonna talk about his journey in becoming a mensch. What is a mensch? Mensch is Yiddish for a person, but it signifies a person of integrity, of honor, decency, and compassion. And so we're gonna talk about his journey and how his journey has made his life better every single day. And the great part about it is that becoming a mensch is something you and I can do too. Here we go. Hello, 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 and welcome back to our Finding Better podcast. My name is John Suzuki, and I am your host. And this is what makes Finding Better different is that we just talk about wisdom from experience. Okay, we don't talk about academics. We don't talk about theories. We certainly don't talk about opinions. It's about real lived experiences, which is amazing, right? Because a lot of times the best way, the best path to success and in life that you want, that maybe you want to take is one that someone's already been down and someone who's already been there and done that. My guest today, we're going to have a lot of fun today. And I just want to tell you, we're going to talk about men. And this is the first time, ladies, you're going to want to listen to this, right? Because I've had lots of ladies talking about women and talking about women helping women. We're going to talk about men, right? And this is the kind of thing that would also be really good for women to understand. My guest is Josh Fineman, and he is the founder of Mench in North London. And it's a community that helps men unplug, okay, from the pressure and noise of modern life. We're going to talk a lot about that and reconnect to what really matters. Now, just to let you know what a mensch is a person of integrity and honor. Okay. And, I mean, I don't think anybody will disagree with this statement that we need more of that, right? We know that everybody has it, but we just need to get people back to that value of really integrity and honor. And in a minute, I'm going to ask Josh what that means to him. But anyway, just to let you know his background, Josh spent years zigzagging through his career and trying to prove himself, right? We live in a performance-based culture. Sound familiar? And he ticked off all the boxes of success, and yet he still felt like something was missing. So we're going to talk about his real life stories, his hard-won insights, and he's put together practical tools that he's going to share with us, right? And that you can apply to your own life right away. And so with that, Josh, welcome to Finding Better. I'm really happy and excited to have you here.
I am buzzing just by being in your company, John. Thank you for having me. What an honor to be on the show. I'm
Oh
really
my gosh, the honor
grateful.
is mine. The honor is definitely mine. So, Mensch, okay, let's talk about that
Yeah,
first because that is
sure.
that's just on the outset, we're talking about integrity and honor and the journey that we all
Mm.
go through, right? Men and women, of checking off the boxes, trying to prove ourselves, trying to be the person that other people want us to be. But so kick us off with integrity and honor and what Mensch means.
Yeah, sure. So Mensch actually means different things in different languages. In German, it means
Okay.
human or to be human, which is also quite an apt translation when applying it to the work that I do. But I'm Jewish and I grew up in a not particularly religious, but certainly culturally and traditionally Jewish household. And it's an old Yiddish word. And I didn't know before. It was a word that was very much bandied around when I was growing up in my household, amongst my Jewish friends. I was called it, I called other people it. You can use it for men and women, but typically in our culture, it's used for men more than
Okay.
women. And it felt like whenever anybody used that word, oh, you're such a mensch, it kind of felt like you were being told, you're a good guy, you're one of the good ones. And and what was really interesting is that when I started my own men's group, and kind of instinctively, I knew I wanted to call it Mench.
Hmm.
I then actually retrofitted and like asked myself, what does it actually mean under the surface? And I translated into be a person of integrity and honor. And having been in the world of men's work and men's groups and lots of things around personal development for a few years at that point, it made me think, well, that's bloody perfect because that's kind of exactly what this work has given me an ability to try as much as possible every day to come back into integrity with myself. And
Wonderful.
yeah, so of course, the depth and richness of the word and its origins has even more depth than that translation, but that is the translation of the word. Yeah.
And I know that you have three kids, right?
Yes.
How does why is this important, and how does that manifest itself in your life with your family?
Yeah. Yeah, well, it's a lovely question, and I think firstly, what I want to say is in integrity isn't kind of the destination. It is a way of being and a practice. You know, I can every day I'm slipping out of integrity with myself, and it's very easy to criticize myself for that, and sometimes I slip into that. But integrity is really about knowing who I want to be, and when I slip out of it, reducing the time that it takes to come back into integrity with myself. And I have to tell you, having three young children, it is very easy to slip out of integrity with myself.
Yeah, as a parent and a grandparent, I'm just laughing. I'm just laughing.
Yeah,
I can easily equally cry, right,
yeah,
to that
yeah,
statement as much as I'm laughing.
yeah,
But I prefer to laugh.
yeah.
That's so insightful. People think, as I used to, that you got to live with integrity. You got to live with
Yeah,
integrity.
yeah, yeah,
And it's for some people a destination and it's
yes,
perfection. You
yeah,
live with integrity, so
yeah,
therefore you're going to
yeah.
live with integrity all the time. You just said that you slip in and out of it. Talk
Hmm.
about that.
Well, I'm a human being, I think. So, certainly within
That's
this
it. Yeah.
reality that we live in, uh, and so, I'm tested 1,000 times a day with choices about
Yes.
are these really aligned with who I am and who I want to be, or am I just slipping into this because it's easy or because it's what, I'm fearful of doing the wrong thing or of being judged or of making a mistake. So, that applies to fatherhood, that applies to my career, that applies to being a husband, a friend, a son. It applies to all aspects of my life, my body and my physical health. So coming back to your point with the kids and integrity, for obvious reasons, and for not so obvious reasons, I am offered up many opportunities to ask myself, how do I actually want to be in this moment right now? And it was actually my kids that inspired this roller coaster journey that I've been on for about 8 years or so now, properly, really on the journey, so to speak. And it was interestingly, when my second son was born. So I've got two boys and a girl, an 8-year-old boy, a 5-year-old boy, and a 4-year-old girl. And it was really when my second son was born, I had a real moment of understanding my own mortality, kind of more than our first child. And
Okay.
yeah, and I was running I suppose you could call it, or it was outward looking in, it looked like a relatively successful creative agency at the time. Um, and I had this overwhelming sense of lostness still and loneliness, and I had been working with a coach for a couple of years, and I just discovered men's work and men's groups, and I think
Okay, just real quick,
yes, yes,
men's
yes, yes.
group.
Yeah.
Okay, you just said you were feeling lonely
Yes.
and right, you were happily married.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
You had your first child
Yeah.
and you're
Yeah.
kind of living
Yeah, look,
a
I'm running
dream
my
in a
own
lot of ways.
company. I have my own property. I live in a bustling city. I've got parents that love me.
You're checking the boxes off.
I've got I've got friends that I connect to and have fun with. I'm able to travel. I've got loads of things that I'm grateful for, and I was grateful for those things. And there was something underneath it all which felt uh out of integrity. There was something underneath it all that felt like there's something in myself that is unfulfilled right now. I feel like I'm, as you said, ticking boxes. Um, and my second son being born really put that into full context because I started to really question if I continue down this path and I get to my deathbed, what am I gonna say? How am I gonna feel? What am I gonna regret? Uh,
Oh my gosh.
yeah.
That
So
is deep. You
yeah,
got
yeah,
you got to that point of thinking, laying in your deathbed, which
yeah,
we are all going to do, by the way, folks.
yeah,
Right. And you're thinking now, what are you going to be thinking then?
yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, I mean that's the and I've had I've shared this on other podcasts before. There've been other moments in the Hollywood version of my life that gave me that sense of perspective. But for the sake of this conversation, it was with my second son because what I realized is I was I was actually on top of a rooftop in Mexico City shooting this big ad campaign for a whiskey brand. And I remember we wrapped this shoot, and it was meant to be the crowning moment of my career to date. And I remember asking myself, why am I not? Why don't I care? Like I don't. I'm
Mm,
everyone's celebrating, and it's all very exciting, and I'm like, there's something in this moment that isn't adding up. And I came home.
interesting.
Yeah, I came home and I had my wife and my two boys, and I started asking myself when they're in their late teens or early 20s and they're considering this next big phase of their life, and they might be struggling with the very things that I have struggled with in my career to date, which is what do I want to do with my life? Like, what do I want to do in my career and beyond the material goals? Like, what do I, how do I want to know that what I did really kind of mattered? And I said, well, what's the story I want to tell them that I did? Not what's the fable I want to tell them, or
Hmm.
what's the lesson that I want to impart on them. It's just like, well, what do I want to tell them I did? And then let them figure it out and support them with however they want to do it. I don't want to rescue them. I don't want to fix them. I just want to say, well, I hear you. I've been through this. Here's what your dad did. And it was like, well, it sure ain't shit running a creative agency for the next 30, 40 years. Um, and
That's
so my
true.
kids helped me come back into integrity and alignment with the question of, so what is it then? And that kick-started me joining a men's group, moving towards working with my mentor who I've been working with for the last 6 years, and eventually, carving out the path that I've carved out for myself.
It's amazing because what you were talking about just now, when at first you were like, what do I want what do I want my kids to know, when they're facing the challenges I'm facing. The fact of the matter is, when you're living with integrity, the kids know
Yeah,
during the journey.
yeah,
It's not
yeah,
so by the time they do get to that point, they're
yeah,
going, I know dad did this.
Yeah.
and dad did that,
Yeah.
and dad did this. I talk about leadership a lot. And, whether you're leading by a good example or a bad example, you are
Mhm.
leading,
Yeah.
right? You're leading, and especially with kids. And so I love how you came to this, not only by and because of your kids, but you're doing this for your kids,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And how has that, you talked about the loneliness and the emptiness.
Yeah.
How are you feeling now that you put yourself on this different path?
I mean, it's a continuous practice, like I said, and if maybe 80% of my time I was feeling low and 20% of my time I was feeling an alignment, I think it's shifted significantly, potentially towards it being the other way around entirely. 80% feeling great, 20, I have my existential crisis every few months, John, still.
Of course, we
And,
all
and,
do.
and
We
yeah.
all do.
And
Yeah.
and whoever's listening, rest assured, the more into this world of bettering myself I've got, and the deeper I've gone, the bigger the wells become, and so
That's
like
wonderful,
it's
man.
a never-ending experience, but one like I wouldn't want any different. Um, but I'll give you an example. The best thing that I've carved out for myself now, which is maybe different to when I started, is something happened today. I won't go into the details of it, but it was some feedback I received from someone that really knocked me for six. And it wasn't about how I performed. It was about how, in a personal relationship, I'd done something and how I made them feel.
Mm.
And it broke my heart. Like it wasn't intentional, and I kind of sat with all the shame and the fear and the guilt and all of that stuff that when being a big open-hearted person who's trying to live with integrity, like it hurts when I do that to others. And the biggest blessing I have is the first thing I did was leave a voice note to my WhatsApp, my men's group WhatsApp, and I've shared it and I've said how I felt, and I've said that I know it's not all me and I know I'll get through, blah 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 blah, but I'm really feeling this right now. And I was met how I needed to be met by these incredible men and humans and souls in my life, because they didn't try and fix me, they didn't try and rescue me. And it's just such a gift, because it's enabled me now. Like, I used to lean on my wife as my therapist. She wasn't my wife, she wasn't my partner, she became my therapist, and that built up a lot of resentment between us. I would
Mm.
go to my parents to be kind of rescued or saved, and not through any fault of their own. Of course, that's what they're going to want to do when their child comes to them. And so having this other space in my life now and creating these other support systems in my life means that I don't have to carry this stuff around with me as much as I used to. And it means I can go into those other relationships I care about, showing up in a way that I can share this stuff in my life with them without needing so much of them that I needed from them before. And so yeah, I think that's been like the biggest shift for me, and why I'm trying slowly but surely to bring that to others as well.
I mean, this is just amazing. This is just amazing because, we're talking about your journey and
Mm,
what you said slowly and gradually, right? I mean, I've heard so many people, not necessarily on my podcast because I
mm.
call them out. If they ever said, you know what, it's a quick fix. All you got to do is this stuff. Do these three things and you're going to be
Yeah,
just fine.
yeah,
That
yeah,
doesn't happen,
yeah.
right? And if anybody did try to tell me there was a such thing as a quick fix, I'd call them out, like I
Mm,
said. But you talk about you're gradually and you're getting into this, and you went from 20 percent fulfilled and 80% empty to 80% fulfilled and now 20% empty,
Mm,
kind of thing, right?
mm.
But that didn't happen overnight, right?
No, definitely
And
not.
so, this podcast is called Finding Better. It's not called
Mm,
Finding Perfect. It's
yeah,
called Finding Better, right? And I love what you're talking about because, it's day by day, and literally if you are on a track of integrity, at least what I have found, because I try my best because I've gone through this similar thought process that you have, right? And I've got kids and grandkids. And but it's if you are on that path, it's not forward, 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 better, 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 better every day. I mean, it is literally two steps forward, one step back in the best case,
yeah,
right? And
yeah,
and you kind of talked about it, when you said, you know what? I mean, I slip out of it, I slip into it, I slip out
yeah,
of it, you slip into
yeah,
it.
yeah,
And you also talked about your experience, your recent experience where um, you felt really badly. I
mm,
mean, part of this is learning to love yourself and learning to
yeah,
forgive yourself,
yeah,
right? But
completely.
how has so this is a journey that you've chosen, and I think it's a journey that it's a path that you're going to continue to go down,
No,
right?
I've decided I'm gonna stop, John.
Yeah, I'm going back to
I
the old
can't be
way.
bothered anymore.
What I mean by that is that one of the things I say all the time is that the product of our life is the product of the decisions and choices that we make, right? And our life in the future is going to be the product of the decisions and choices we make from now on.
Mm,
And what you've talked about is not only making a choice to live as a mensch,
mm,
right? In integrity and honor, but also making the choice that you're going to work towards that every single day. And when you're conscious of what's going on, working all the time, like you said, thousands of decisions every single day.
mm.
And uh, so what has been the kinds of things that have kept you going?
Oh, I love that question. Um,
Because it's easy to slip out. I'll tell you,
oh
it's
yeah,
hard to live in integrity, right? It's hard to do what's right all the time. You're constantly challenged.
completely. And as I said, I slip and make mistakes and have to live with those and learn from them and forgive myself for them and forgive others as well. Going through, I think one of the big lessons that I'm still on. I've got a massive judge in my head still. Like I think I'm on the path to some sort of enlightened state, and I'm judging the shit out of everyone in my life. This voice, just so learning to forgive others as well and love that's it's a big part of it, a big part of it. I think the things that have really helped me keep going um is without doubt having people in my life who are also on the same path, and having people in my life who help me remember who I really am when
Hmm.
that voice gets very loud, as it did this morning. And I think the thing that has really helped me, and I say this in full acknowledgement of the love of my parents and of my wife and of my friends and their support. And I also think it's been really important to me to find people outside of those people, that can just meet me in a certain way. Um, so I think that's the crux of it to begin with. A quite recent thing, since I'm 40 in a few months from now, and when I was 38, I decided I'm gonna start actually taking care of my body and my physical fitness and the food I eat. And I think I'd taken advantage of my body for far too long. And so, having some sort of healthy physical life as well, moving my body and taking care of what goes in it, I think has been really, really helpful for this. It prepares my body for everything else, that I want to bring into my life. Um, I think they've been like tremendous support for me. So having those people and really taking care of my body, and not in again a performative way because I want big muscles, or because like it's because
Right.
like I can understand that actually if I combine having others who support me and taking care of this physical thing that follows me everywhere, then actually then taking care of myself in other areas of my life becomes so much I don't want to say easier, but so much it's like so much clearer where
Yeah.
else I need to
Yeah.
clean things up in my life.
Yeah. I was just going to say that word, clear. I was
Yeah,
just going to say that word, but a message to everybody who's listening, kind of to wrap a little bow around some of the stuff that Josh has been saying. You don't have to do this alone.
mm,
You don't have to do this alone. And what I mean by this is life, right? I mean, there are communities out there. I mean, it is so easy. Just get on Facebook,
yeah,
just get on LinkedIn, just get on social media. And if you're not on social media, learn. Just get on because there's all kinds of communities out there
yeah,
where you can just be part of. And that's the thing. A lot of people, Josh, feel like they are alone in this
100%.
journey,
Yeah,
right? You were talking about being lonely earlier
yeah,
on in our conversation. And I really do believe that the best leaders I've worked with are the people who realize they can't do it alone,
yeah.
right? And they surround themselves with people who are better than them at what they need them to be better at.
Hmm.
And uh, and sometimes all you need is people to listen, and people to be able to relate to you without judgment, without
Mm,
judgment, you know. And the other thing I'll say about joining these communities is that if you join one of these communities or multiple communities, go in with the idea not that you're going to take something out of it, but you're equally going to give something into it,
mm.
right? Where you're going to listen to other people. Because you know what? One thing you're going to find out is there are a lot of messed up people out there. And right? And there are people out there who have bigger problems than you have. And who are going through what maybe you've gone through. It just brings the humanity back
Yeah,
and that support.
yeah.
Right?
Completely and totally. And I've been recently been asked to give some talks on how to find community.
Okay.
Um, and I think the ingredients for me are number one, the biggest step is just acknowledging that you want to. Um, you
That
know,
is the biggest step. Yep.
it's a huge, huge step. Number two is letting go of the need that the first thing you find is going to be the right thing for you. Let go of that need to find the perfect magical pill for the loneliness that you might be feeling. And the next thing is just to try something and see how you feel after. And if you feel that you've had lots of energy and that the people that you've been with have accepted you and listened to you, fantastic. And if you feel at this stage that actually you feel a bit lower on energy and you feel a bit judged or that you're not so sure, like listen to that as well. There'll come a time where it will be good to place yourself in scenarios where you feel judged. But I think to begin with, find people that give you energy. And it might be a running club or a knitting club, or it might be your local, church or synagogue or wherever it is. Find places that give you energy and find people that give you energy. And generally, as you said, I found for me the people that gave me energy were those that I felt really heard by and could meet me how I needed to be met. And that was people that I felt at least weren't judging me. I didn't feel a burden to. I wasn't being rescued or fixed or advised by. They were with me in it. And then I loved your point as well, which kind of comes as part of joining community is you can find communities. The best thing with my community, with the men's group space, and I think the reason why men are drawn to it is because you give back as much as you receive by listening,
Yes.
being with other people. And it's a magical thing.
That is really, really good. I love the one, two, three. First of all is just do it. Make the
Yeah,
decision to go out and find a community. Secondly, don't expect the first one you come across to be the right one,
yeah,
right? And the third one is just keep trying it, and you'll feel it.
yeah,
In my experience, finding a church, you can't if you expect to walk into a church and it being the spiritual home of for the rest of your life, you're
yeah,
probably going to be sorely disappointed.
yeah,
I put in my mind that I'm going to go to six churches. I'm
yeah,
going to go to six churches. When I was looking for a martial arts
yeah,
uh, club for my kids, we same thing. I was going to go to six of them.
yeah,
And the thing about it, you talked about the energy. When you're in the right one, you will feel it.
yeah,
You'll
100%.
feel it. You'll feel, right? You'll feel it. You'll feel the energy and you'll know it's right.
Yeah,
And I've been in technology or I just retired a couple of years ago, but for 38 years. And since 1984, I helped shepherd in like five or six generations of technology, from the PC
wow.
to the internet to the mobile computing and so forth and so on. And, I've coined a phrase because, over all those years, we've gotten really smart. With every new generation of technology, we've gotten smarter and smarter. But the saying that I coined was, we've gotten so smart, we've forgotten our heart.
Mm,
And I love what you're saying, because I feel you, Josh. I feel your heart. I feel how you're sharing your experience. And that's what we have to get back to, especially with the rise of artificial intelligence. I mean,
oh,
we I think, and I'm feeling like it's creating a renaissance of heart.
yeah,
And I feel like folks like you and me are trying to push it along, and
yeah.
it's
I
really
hope
cool.
so.
So
I
yeah.
hope so. I wanted to add one more thing, John, which I think is really important, which
Hmm.
is that what often happens for anyone listening, actually two things I think are really important. One is when you start to be in the question of like, is this it? Or this doesn't feel right, or like I want to search for something. Like fear will come up. It will come up for most people. That like, oh, but and it will come out in various forms. Well, I have to find the right one. What if I go and they won't like me? Well, it's too far away from me. It's at a time of day that doesn't suit. All of these reasons will come up as to why it's not worth doing. So I think I really want to acknowledge that because of two things. Number one, that is so normal. That is so normal. If that comes up for you, as you're looking to find community, find belonging, find connection, find yourself, like fear is going to come up, and it's coming up because it's trying to keep you safe, and it's serving a purpose for you. But it's a really good indicator that you're on the right path, and you've just got to kind of make that step. And so the question is, what is the smallest step that you can make? Not like what's the giant leap. You're not going to take one step towards the top of the mountain, so to speak. It's just what's the small step forward? What's the place that feels it's safe enough that I can just get the ball rolling on this thing. And the second thing that I wanted to say is I've been, for any uh, kind of self-development geeks in the crowd, I've been reading up recently on ego development, on which is obviously kind of very theoretical and quite heady. But there was the most comforting thing, and essentially it tries to take you through the stages of development that one goes through when you go from uh, kind of the childhood development stages to conforming, to then using rationale, to then looking to achieve and develop and better yourself, and then kind of then moving into the more spiritual spaces of what is beyond performance. And it was interesting that the thing that I've taken from my studies so far is that with each stage of this new chapter that you enter for yourself, it what comes with the territory is fear and confusion and loneliness. So frankly, the more lonely or confused or scared you are, like kind of the better because it means that you're entering this new phase of knowing yourself. And that made me very, very happy to know because I felt very lonely and lost and scared on this journey multiple times. And so I think I just wanted to say that as well.
That is that. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that because, fear is just part of what this is just part of life.
Yeah.
And the question is not whether things that scare you are going to happen. The question is, what are you going to do with it?
Yeah.
And what are you going to do about it? And I love how you say start with the smallest step.
Yeah.
Everybody has heard that a journey of 1,000 miles starts with one small step, right? And I when I coach people and help folks, I tell them, you know what? Building your approach and your resistance, really, and most importantly, your acceptance of fear is like building a muscle.
Yeah.
It's like building a muscle, right? Um, I I tend to do things in extremes, Josh. I was afraid of heights, so I
Yeah.
jumped out of an airplane. I
Yeah.
was afraid of deep water, so I went scuba diving.
Love it.
I just that's just who I am. I don't. I
Yeah.
just if I got to do something, I figure just go ahead and do it. But most people aren't like that, and I don't recommend it for people who aren't,
Yeah.
right? Um, if you're afraid of deep water, go to a swimming pool and take some swimming lessons and
Yeah.
just start that way. But
Yeah.
it's take this because it becomes a muscle. It's like muscle. It's a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets, and the better you're
Yeah.
going to get at it. I
Yeah.
mean, that's what life is, right? And embrace the fear.
Yeah.
I had a guest last week who said, fear is awesome. I love fear. I love pain. And I'm like, who are you? Right? And that was kind of part of our conversation. She goes, you know what? If you're not learning something from pain, all you're feeling is pain, right?
Yeah.
But there's victory in pain. And
Yeah.
and I told her, I said, pain is a great teacher if you let it be a teacher, right? And that's the same thing with fear, right? There's something to
Totally.
learn from this, like you just said. And everybody lives with fear and confusion and
Yeah.
loneliness at some point in their lives. And you're giving folks some real things, and it's okay to be human,
Yeah.
right? And it's okay to feel those things because that's just part of life.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. I mean, the I say this to my kids a lot actually. We every Friday evening we have like a uh so as I said, we're Jewish, so we have like a Friday night Shabbat dinner together. It's like a
Hmm.
beautiful traditional ceremony. And the two questions we often ask around the table are Uh, and bearing in mind, we kind of make it for the kids, so it's not what you're grateful for or what do you appreciate, but just like what's been your favorite thing from the week, and then like what's been the most difficult thing this week, or the thing that's scared you most this week, or something like that. And the point of the second question is to reiterate that my kids want to be brave. We all want to feel like we're brave. And it reiterates the point that you can't be brave unless you're scared. Like, as a definition of
Ooh.
courage, that you're not courageous if you're not a little bit scared. And so, my thing when I say the smallest step is you're still going to feel a bit scared with that smallest step, but anything that involves any kind of fear means that you're being courageous. And so I'm trying as best as possible to reiterate that with my kids because I think it's all too often that we think that courage is the absence of fear. Um, but
That
it's
is,
not.
you can't be brave if you're not scared.
Yeah.
You know, that is cool. You can't be brave. I'm going to repeat that again. You can't be brave if you're not scared. It's one of those things. Please, God, give me courage. Okay, I will give you things to be scared of.
Correct. Exactly.
Right. Wait. That's not what I'm asking for.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
not
yeah,
what I'm
yeah,
asking
yeah,
for, right?
yeah, yeah,
And so and
yeah.
so you can't be brave if you're not scared. I mean, obviously, I'm going to make a quote out of that, and I'm going to attribute it to you.
Hey, go for
And
it.
yeah,
I'm
that's wonderful. You
I'm
know,
not sure I coined it either, but it's a powerful one. My friend calls it fear walking. He says you're a fear walker. It's the same thing.
okay,
As in, like
Wh-
you're being courageous. Courage isn't the absence of fear; it's fear walking. It's a beautiful quote.
that is interesting. I love that. I love that. All right. So, Josh, tell us a little bit about Mensch
Sure.
and the community. And can anybody participate?
Yeah, yeah. So
Okay,
you have to identify as a man. Although I have been talking with friends recently about like a women's group and a couples group, and I think eventually that's where I would love things to get to.
sure.
But yeah,
The reason why I was laughing, Josh, is
yeah.
because you have to be a man, and
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
it's
yeah, exactly.
okay. How do you define a man?
Yeah, and how do you do it? Yeah, let's not get down that rabbit hole. Let's
Okay,
not get down.
all right. Setting that
But
aside, go ahead.
yeah, yeah. But that's really it. And then, we have a lot of principles that we apply to our community and the activities we do to make it feel open and safe and you know, full of integrity. Um, that everybody agrees to and builds off of. But that's kind of it at the crux of it. And then when I started running Mench, I trained in this space 5 or so years ago with my mentor, and that was during COVID. So everything was online. And so when I started Mench, uh, it was all online because that's really like all I'd ever done. And then over the last 3.5 years, it has evolved and shaped more and more into what my expression of this world and this work is. So as you said, there are loads of communities out there. They could be religious or spiritual or hobby based or to do with sport or exercise, whatever it is. Like, take your pick, find the one that floats your boat. If talking at depth openly with other men feels like something that could give you value, there are lots of men's communities out there as well. You just got to search for them and find the right ones for you. And Mench is my own evolving expression of that in constant kind of feedback with what it is that the people in my community want, right? So um, I said for years, I even said this when I was running my creative agency without really knowing what it meant. I always said, like, I don't want to build a city, I want to build a village. And I think what I've always said is like I don't need to build a giant empire. Like, I want it to have depth. as opposed to breadth. I want it to feel like it's this meaningful space. And I realized after having everything online that a big thing that was missing from my life and my the people in my community's life was a sense of local and in person. So I essentially kind of moved, not everything that we run certain things online now, but I've moved the vast majority of what we do at Mench now to in person at a
Oh,
yeah, a site 10 minutes down the road to me. I have a retreat partner who's practices yoga and breath work and jujitsu and has a 5 acre piece of land with a swimming pond and a yurt tent and fields and chickens. And we take men there and we do all sorts of fun stuff there, from guided conversations, meditation, yoga, swimming, and it's
so
about
you're
bringing guys together in a
so
space in nature.
so this is mainly for the locals, or do you
Well,
have people coming in from
oh yeah, like I've
different
had,
parts of the country and the world?
oh yeah. I've had guys flying. I have people. I have like a coaching client in Dubai who comes along whenever he's back in the UK. I've got people who travel
Okay. Okay.
north of England. But we run these regular weekly experiences, and so obviously the more local you are, the better it is. And I think the thing that I realized for myself, and the nice thing with Mensch is it's just an expression of me. That's the lovely thing about it, is that I love the idea that I create and Mensch creates tribes of guys who live within a few miles of each other. So that outside of the paid for activities you do within Mensch, you can call up one of the guys and you can go for a walk, or you can play some
Mm,
football, or you can share you can, because I think so much of what's missing in the world now, as you mentioned with technology, is the sense of being locally connected with others.
yeah.
So
Yeah. And it does make a huge difference when when you're together. I mean,
yeah.
that physical presence,
Oh yeah.
there's nothing that can replace that. But having said that, that doesn't mean for the folks who are listening that you have to that one of the criteria for joining a community that is that it has to be local.
Not at
That's
all.
not, it all depends on what you're looking for. It all
Exactly.
depends on what you're looking for. So,
Exactly. That's the point. And I always I'll talk to anyone who's interested in anything in this kind of world, and the beauty of letting go, or what should I say, continuously trying to let go of the old narratives of competition and bettering others, is just listening. I speak to plenty of guys where, they might want to work with me as a coach or come and join my community, where I'm like, I've got to be honest. I think this person will be perfect for you, or like, I want you to try out this community because I
hmm
think it better suits your needs right now.
yeah,
And
good.
that's not from a place of judgment. It's just from a place of, what is it that you're really seeking, and who do I know out there that can help you best? And if that's me, fantastic. And if it's not, then I'll say. So it's lovely. And then within Mench, we've got stuff which is ad hoc activities. We have these, the kind of the core offering is these private groups of men that meet
Okay.
up and go on a real journey with each other. And then, this isn't a sales pitch, but then there's the one-on-one coaching. So there are lots of different touch points as to how people can create more connection in their life.
Well, all of your information is in the show notes. And so folks, you can go there if you want to learn more. The fact of the matter is this conversation has been amazing. And if I took a half page of notes, and my last note was, you can't be brave if you're not scared,
Yeah.
and we talked about a lot of things. And Josh, this has been wonderful.
Yeah.
Whether people, and I hope some folks do, and I know some folks will reach out to you. But even for the folks who won't reach out, you've given us so many things, not only for us to think about, but things we can do, right, in
Yeah.
our pursuit of finding better. Last comment before we close.
Yeah, I mean, I often say this at the end, but I always get tinglings in the back of my neck. So that's a good indicator that this is what I feel I want to say right now is if you're thinking about doing something for yourself, like ask yourself why, like who for? For yourself, for others, for the world, but really dig into that question because often what comes up for people that I speak to is the realization that this isn't a selfish pursuit. This isn't some sort of nice thing that would be a nice thing to do. You're actually going to create incredibly positive ripple effects on people that you care about and the things that you want to pursue and create a better world. So, of course, do this for yourself, but don't lose sight of the fact that the step you're about to take is going to impact so many people in a really positive way. I certainly know that for myself.
Perfect.
So that's it. Thank you.
Perfect. I tell people that the reason why I do this podcast and everything that I do is to lift people. Because
Mm.
when you lift others, you lift the world. And here's the other thing, folks. When you lift yourself, you lift the world, right? And know your why. Now, it's not. I will tell you my experience in the understanding why is not just asking why. It's asking why 5 or 6 times.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
ask yourself why do I want to do this? And then when you come up with that answer, say, why is that important? And you come up with that answer, you go, okay, why is that a big deal? Right? I mean, five
Yeah.
or six times.
Yeah.
And we're trained not to do that because our kids, right?
No. Yeah. Yeah.
Why? But in the context of what you and I are talking about, Josh, it really is important. It really is
Yeah.
important to ask yourself why and ask yourself why 5 or 6 times. So, with that, Josh, thank you. Thank you
Thank you,
for
John.
joining me.
Thanks for
I
having me.
love you. God bless you. You're helping a lot of people out there, and I love what you're doing with Mench. And for all of you, check out the show notes. Get in touch with Josh if you want to. Thank you for joining us. It's all about finding better. I love you. God bless you. We'll see you next time. Bye.